Alright, we are on the draw with Rug Delver, and this hand is bad. We can cast Disrupting Shoal. Nice. This hand's good. This hand is really good. The third land doesn't seem super important when every spell in our hand costs 1 mana. So let's not have that. This looks like Tron. Green X because of Chromatic Sphere. I don't believe Eldrazi Tron generally runs Chromatic Sphere. Hooting Mandrills was a very, very good draw. Probably turn 1 Delver, turn 2 Thought Scour into Mandrills. We could take the turn off playing Delver to hold up Spell Snare, but that seems super loose. So let's go get ourselves a Steam Vents. I am not even close to worried about my life total right now. There is a possibility that we could get an extra turn by saving 1 or 2 life, but doesn't seem extremely relevant, given that we're playing against Tron, the deck with the most inevitability. There will Explore in Tron. That is spicy. Holy. It is Eldrazi Tron. Wow. Just wow. I am all sorts of interested. I actually almost want to draw Delver, because then I could go Hooting Mandrills this turn, Delver next turn, and we might have enough of a clock. So we're going to draw that. Get a Breeding Pool with this, because having double blue seems at least somewhat nice. I don't really want to scour away my Breeding Pool. We got the third land, which probably won't be relevant at all. There's the graveyard. Let's play this. No more graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And get in for 1 with Delver. Alright, so Explore in Tron. Does anyone else think it's actually quite awesome? And Oblivion Sower? This is not traditional Eldrazi Tron. Not even close. With Explore, you could technically get turn 2 Tron, which seems awesome. Wow, they hit a lot of fetches. Did they even turn over a non-land? Top 4, no. All 4 cards were lands. Look at that. We did give our opponent some good ramp. Looks like they're on green-red. How many shocks and basics do they run? I guess if they're not playing colorless Tron, they would have a decent number, but geez. Relax there, dude. So yeah, they just Oblivion Sower, ramping 4 mana. Not bad. It's kind of decent. They don't have Tron. They still have access to 9 mana, excluding the Eldrazi Temple bonus for Eldrazi specific spells. Yeah, I'll reveal a Serum Visions. That seems like a good idea. I don't believe Mandrills is going to get any damage in this game. Not with that Oblivion Sower there. Now the question becomes, do we play this Delver? If we do, we become vulnerable to something along the lines of a board wipe. If we don't play the Delver, we might just lose the race. We're dead in 4 turns, 3 hits, and 1 block with the Mandrills. They're also dead in 4 turns. They'll be hitting us first. So this board alone, Oblivion Sower versus Aberration Mandrills. Well, actually, if Oblivion Sower attacks, then I crack back with Mandrills and they're dead in 2 turns. Which does change things up, so we do win the race. But if they do anything to touch the board, we lose the race. But on the other hand, we get to keep a Delver in hand. So I believe I'm going to save the Delver. 2 burn spells is very interesting, as is Tarmogoyf. So let's do that. We don't plan on playing the Delver. Playing this land doesn't seem super relevant. Do we just play it anyways in case they Oblivion Sower away the Goyf? Probably. Seems like a decent idea. End step, we're probably firing off a burn spell of sorts. So red-green Eldrazi Tron running Explorer. Is there anything even close to that spicy? If there is, I don't think I've seen it. They are digging, trying to find an answer. Oh, that's a Tron land. Is that even relevant at this point? Wormcoil is actually really good. Wormcoil is really, really good, given that I can knock them down to 2 life, and then they start gaining 6 a turn. Also means they can get in here with the Oblivion Sower. Well, we're not going to block yet. Let's leave that window open. I'm pretty sure I fire off one of these burn spells. Let's use the Tarfire to make Goyf big, just in case I don't end up playing a burn spell next turn. Okay, so we can go all in and play Delver. How good is that? If they attack with both, we block the Oblivion Sower. Actually, it doesn't matter which we block, so I would block the Wormcoil. Given that we save 1 life on that, we end up going to 4. They gain 6. They're at 14. They take 3 off of Bolt, go to 11, and they're not dead. So I probably want to play this Delver and just say nuts to your board wipe. Let's hit with the flip Delver. Aberration gets in there. And go to us. Okay, opponent's at 5. Oh, I didn't take into account the Delver hit when I was doing those calculations. I might not have supposed to play this Delver. It's possible that the 3 damage means you don't do this, and instead you do this. Of course, I don't see how that's super relevant, given that if they have a board wipe, we're completely toast anyways, so I imagine overcommitting isn't a huge deal. What does this Eldrazi do? They searched their library for an Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn, and they put it on top. They only attacked with the Wormcoil because they want to be able to block Goyf and Mandrills. So this puts Emrakul on top. So Emrakul is the top card of their library. How much mana do they have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Jeez. If I didn't count these tap lands, they have no problem casting that. And really, it makes sense because look at these Tron lands plus these. Do I bother blocking this? I go to 3. If they don't have anything, they just die to Delver plus Bolt. But what if they do have something? Is there a downside to making this block? I don't think so. Because if they have answers, then we buy ourselves an extra turn. Do we actually get an extra turn out of that, though? They can block both of these, and we don't have any hasty attackers we can draw. So I don't think there's anything, but what if we draw something like a Simic Charm? Bounce one of their dudes, get in for a bunch. So I'm going to take it. They go up to 11. Oh, life gain. Nice. Nice self. Forget life gain. So, that's not a Simic Charm. If we swing with the team, we are dead. If we don't swing with the team, we're dead. I believe we're dead. They take 6, make it 9. Wormcoil did work. They go to 2. We swing with these. They get blocked. Conduit blocks Mandrills. Sower blocks Goyf. They don't even lose a creature. I could bolt one of their dudes after they block, but then they go to 5 and I kill a thing, which doesn't do anything. So I believe we just attack with everything. They also have an Emrakul coming, and if that hits the stack, we're super duper dead. So I do believe we're just going to attack with the team and hope. Yeah, there was basically no way they could mess that up. Hey, Goif got bigger. That's good. That is good. It's nice to have a big Goif. Semic Charm would have been very good there. Vapor Snag as well. Even Dismember just to take out this Conduit. Here comes the Emrakul, and I guess we just wait for them to kill us. I mean, we're dead on board regardlessly. They just played Emrakul off of 6 lands. Nice. That Oblivion Sower was pretty good. I don't think getting these lands was actually relevant to the outcome of the game, but it's possible that being able to explore the extra time got them just deep enough that they were able to stabilize. One extra turn, and they are dead to Delvers. So, it's not like... How shall I put it? I don't know how I shall put it. It's not like the lands were irrelevant, but I don't know if they were actually important. Getting that extra draw off with the Explorer. Let's sideboard for Tron. Blood Moon seems like a good card. Blood Moon alone is bad. I say that a lot because it's true. What you want is Blood Moon plus a clock, which is something our deck is pretty good at doing. Artifact Destruction seems good against Tron. It hits Wormcoil. You can actually get it in combat. If a Wormcoil engine blocks your Hooting Mandrills, you have Trample. Blow up the Wormcoil. There's no longer a blocker. They take 4. Gets you an extra swing against them. Engineered Explosive seems god-awful. Pillar probably doesn't come in, although it could be good against Wormcoil, stopping the dies trigger, but at the same time you're 2-for-1ing yourself. Maybe it's better than Bolt. Doing the extra point of damage seems relevant though. I think you cut a Snapcaster Mage against these kinds of decks because it is a little slow, and I also would like to cut Narnum Renegade because it's not a fast clock. Sure, it has Death Touch. It'll trade with one of their dudes, but it's also not winning the game, and I don't want Delvers that don't win the game. Traverse is slow, although it does help us hit land drops. We did board in a mountain, though, so that seems fine. Do I want any Huntmasters? I like Huntmaster as an extra threat against Tron, so I might bring in just the one. It is slow, and I know I just cited Renegade and Snapcaster and even Traverse for being bad for those purposes. So you know what, I'll probably just board it out. We have enough cards to bring in anyways. It's notable that against normal green X Tron, you don't bring in Vapor Snag because they don't have that many creatures. You'd rather just rely on Ancient Grudge and Destructive Revelry, I think, to deal with the Wormcoil. I think I board out Dismember because it only kills Conduit. Assuming they're not running Reality Smasher, Thought-Knot Seer, and Friends. Counters seem at least okay. I think a number of burn spells leave. Maybe another Traverse? I could live with another Traverse going. Do I like this configuration? Spell Snare is at least decent. Oh, geez, Disrupting Shoal, no. This card is not going to be good with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Actually, we still have a lot of blue cards. Huh. Yeah, let's do it. Submitting with a second to spare. Clicking that button was basically irrelevant. This hand's good. Good enough, at least. We have 2 threats. We're going to be backing them up with counter magic. We're on the play. It's a hand that we will hope gets there. I think Rug Delver has a better Tron matchup than most Delver decks, due to the fact that it plays really efficient threats. Of course, Grixis has the likes of Tasigur, but I mean, how often are you going to have a Tasigur that soon? That's a transform, and I almost want to not cast Tarmogoyf. Actually, I really don't want to cast Tarmogoyf. There's nothing in the graveyard yet, although it's almost a certainty that they end up cracking this star, and Goyf becomes at least a 1-2, probably a 2-3 because they'll likely play a spell. I think I want to counter their enablers. And so we pass it to them. Of course, if they just have natural Tron, we're boned regardlessly, but we're going to hope that they don't have natural Tron. Yep. Draw a card, make mana, do your thing. We could counter that, but that seems really lackluster. Extremely lackluster. I'm hoping to hit something like an Ancient Stirrings. They're almost certainly playing around counter magic as well, given that they just saw us shock. Map is something pretty good to counter. They don't have mana, so we could actually do that with Denial. Would I rather save Denial in case I hit a third land drop? Probably. Of course, that requires Goyf to get a little bigger, but we put land in the yard. We're getting close. Denial as a force spike also isn't nearly as bad as you would think it is. I feel like getting a second blue source is probably going to be helpful, so I think we're just going to go to 13. Playing Goyf seems like at least somewhat of a good idea, so we're gonna do it. Denial isn't actually on, but, you know, having a much faster clock is nice. It's very nice. Delver plus Bolt gets it done in 4 turns. Goyf, Delver, and Bolt get it done in 2. That halves the clock. That's something I would enjoy. Let's take a look at the graveyards while we wait for our opponent to do things. They're in their upkeep, which I am quite skeptical of. Yeah, there we go. I don't think they have many decisions to make in their upkeep. Artifact, instant land. Our opponent also might not have access to colored mana now that those eggs are in the graveyard. For those of you who are not aware, cards like this are often known as eggs because you crack them. I think that's where it comes from. Kozilek's Return is going to do 2 damage to each creature. I'm inclined to want to counter that. Keeping Delver around seems like a good idea. It is unfortunate that when they play an Eldrazi that costs 7 or more, Kozilek's Return will probably kill Goyf, but not a heck we can do about that. Simic Charm means we can actually kill them, so we're going to go for it. The opponent's tapped out. I'm going to double check my math. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9, plus 3 is 12. They're at 12. Declare attacks. Let them declare blocks. Let's Giant Growth the Goyf. Make sure we keep red mana available for Goyf, or for Bolt, sorry. That's green, that's blue. Do that. They go to 3. Bolt, face. Good clean game against Tron. That's what I like to see. Let's do that for the next one. How good is our configuration here post-board? Anything I should change? Naturally, I'm asking myself because you guys can't respond in a very timely manner. This game, this match even, will be long done by the time anybody can comment. Which I guess is a plus for streaming, but then I'm not actually playing the game, we're playing the game. That of course does have the advantage of making it more of a community of us playing Delver, but it's not quite the same. I'm iffy on getting help during streaming. I am iffy on it. I don't think I'm going to be doing a lot of sideboarding, so I'm just going to sort these lands. Breeding Pool goes above Stomping Ground. Misty's the best fetch. Scalding Tarn is probably the second best, given that we run 4 and only 2 Foothills. Foothills comes next. Steam Vents is the best shock, followed by Breeding Pool, followed by Stomping Ground, and then Island Forest Mountain in the order of the basics importance. On the draw, I'm considering cutting a Mana Leak. However, do I just bring in a lightning bolt, a dismember, a snapcaster mage, a huntmaster? I just don't particularly like any of these cards. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm running 3 bolts here, a traverse here, a snap here, but second and third traverse are a lot worse than the first traverse. Same thing with the 4th lightning bolt compared to the first 3. Snapcaster, first snapcaster. I think this is good. I don't know if I should be changing anything. That's probably one of the things I should look into. I've been working on playing slower so that I make fewer mistakes and actually go through the turn before I make any plays. But I think I need to do more sideboarding for Game 3 when we get there. But I really just don't think anything is better than this. If it is, it's just marginal. Of course, I want those marginal points, so I would like to find out. But I don't think I want the 4th lightning bolt. Maybe it's better than the 3rd mana leak. Then that hurts Shoal a little bit. It's very intricate. Very, very intricate. I'm going to do that. Do I? Oh, decisions. Decisions, decisions. 4th lightning bolt makes us more likely to draw a lightning bolt to close out the game, but it also makes it more likely that we have a bunch of lightning bolts and we can't use them effectively. 3rd mana leak kind of has the same deal, so let's do that. Let's give it a go. We're going to submit. Hopefully that's good. Our opponent is probably going to choose to be on the play. So naturally, all of our decisions are made under that assumption. Let's take a look at the deck while we wait for them. This is the deck for those of you who haven't seen it much. It's a nice deck. Oh, hey! We got there. This is interesting because we can use Traverse to fix our mana, or we can slam a turn 1 Delver. Given that we have a Blood Moon, I think we want to fix the mana. Stomping Ground into Island. So I do believe this is a keep. I think it's a keep. We have some good cards, that's for sure. The downside of going Stomping Ground into Island means we can't cast Revelry without a 3rd land. Do they just have it? They might have it. We are going to get a forest and grab an island with it because then we get to Blood Moon on turn 3. Seems like a good idea. Turn 1 is just going to be Delver of Secrets. Because we don't really need to get the forest now. In fact, it's actively bad for us to get the forest and the island now. I'm not sure what they're playing around there. A turn 2 Kosan Grip? I'm not sure why they cracked it right away. I mean, I may as well transform Delver. Besides getting our clock down as quickly as possible, I don't like getting basics right away when I'm planning on Blood Mooning because that gives our opponent more time to say, oh geez, they're getting a bunch of basics. They probably want to Blood Moon us. We should spend this extra turn that we have this information preparing for the Blood Moon. I would rather they don't have that kind of information. Now, this is a sorcery, so we're going to want to do it on our turn. We can hold up Vapor Snag, which is a non-zero benefit. The rest of these spells cost more than 1 blue/red, so they won't be used. However, I would be pretty happy to bounce something back into their hand and then slam Blood Moon. That actually sounds delicious. That's my kind of tempo play. Let's go to 17, get a basic forest, traverse, using its hidden mode of get basic because I actually want basic. Also ramps us into Mandrills slightly by putting a card in the graveyard. I should not be... Oh my lord. Guys, it's happening. You're watching this, right? You guys are seeing this? They just tapped out for a fatty. They got an Ulamog. Fatty resolves. Go to end step. Ulamog is on top of the deck, notably, as per shuffle put on top. End step. Vapor Snag that. Feel free to get that ETB off in a few turns. Unless, of course, they have a basic forest into something like a naturalize. Or they could go turn 4 Oblivion Stone, turn 5 crack it, get rid of all your permanents. But, I mean, I'm just gonna do this and get in for another 3. That's another reason why Rug Delver... I probably cut myself off earlier, so let's get into it a little bit. Rug Delver, in my opinion, has a better Tron matchup than other Delver decks such as Grixis and Blue-Red, and even Jeskai. Reasons for this include, like I mentioned, we run efficient clocks. We have Hooting Mandrills. We have... well, I mean, everybody's got Delver. Hoots is pretty comparable to Tasigur in that regard. We probably don't play Mandrills so that we can hold up all kinds of beautiful disruption. We might play Mandrills next turn if we put an extra thing in the graveyard so that we can still hold up Mana Leak. We didn't end up putting a thing in the graveyard, so we legit might not. Thought Scour does put things in the graveyard, but then we can't hold up Mana Leak, so I think we're just going to keep on doing this. Oh, no, never mind. I was thinking we had the Thought Scour last turn and should have end-stepped it. So, we run more turn 2 threats than most Delver decks do. That should have been a Thought Scour, but I'm trying to talk. It's highly unlikely that that comes back to bite us, but it might. So, we run more early threats that are notably very efficient. I generally like Hooting Mandrills more than I like Young Pyromancer. 1, 2, 3. We can cast Mandrills and hold up Mana Leak. It's notable that we won't have Destructive Revelry up because we need to use our only green source, but at least we have Mana Leak and Ancient Grudge. Seems good. Also, they're dead on board. Also, they're super dead if we get to Revelry. We're going to counter that and not even put it up to the Revelry. So yeah, our threats are more efficient. We run more counterspell like Disruption, although Blue-Red probably runs a lot of that too. We just beat whatever Tron deck this was. That's going to be fun to try to name. So we have... oh, actually, we just went into the deck editor, which is fantastic because now I can easily talk about this. We have more early threats. Other Delver decks generally go with 4 Snapcaster Mages to play a more powerful mid-rangey strategy because Blue-Red Delver probably needs the power boost and Grixis loves to grind. We prefer to just kill people. Other reasons we have a nice Tron matchup: Disrupting Shoal, Spell Snare, and all of these. We run a lot of counterspells. Blue-Red, I think, does, but it's been a long time since I looked at Blue-Red. Grixis doesn't run as many counterspells, I don't believe. I don't think they run Denial, but with Grixis Shadow doing it, maybe Denial's picking up and more people will just decide to run it. Denial's good at countering Enablers, so's Mana Leak. Spell Snare is good at countering Explorers, which I don't think generally is important, but it does counter Sylvan Scrying, which is a very good card for Tron. Disrupting Shoal lets us tap out on 2 and still counter their Enabler, which is fantastic. The bounce spells aren't super relevant. I believe Blue-Red plays bounce spells and Grixis just doesn't care because they straight up kill things. Although killing Wormcoil is kind of slightly worse than just bouncing it. In some situations it's better. We have burn spells, but everybody plays burn spells. So it's basically, we run more efficient turn 2 threats, and we have a nice permission suite that lets us counter Enablers. And then post-board we have Blood Moon. But wait, Blue-Red Delver also plays Blood Moon. But because we have more efficient clocks, in my opinion, we are a better Blood Moon deck than Blue-Red is. Blue-Red can main deck it, but I don't really like main decking Blood Moon, personally. Blood Moon is really... it's a very good Magic card. It's one of my favorite Magic cards, and it also looks absolutely gorgeous in a black sleeve. Unrelated note, I got black sleeves yesterday to replace my red Dragon Shields, and they are gorgeous. Black border with black sleeves makes cards look really good. looking at Dismember sleeved up almost makes me want to play a mono black deck, but I don't play mono black, which is sad. Sad because I don't get to see how exquisite a mono black, black bordered, black sleeved deck would look. But yeah, I think I think Tron is even at worst. I'm not positive because I don't play against it that much. I really don't play against any particular deck all that much because most of my Magic time is on Xmage, which has a really open meta. But yeah, I think the Tron match is pretty good. I think it's better than most Delver decks have it, because Clock plus Disruption is what we do, and Clock plus Blood Moon is really, really powerful, as we saw. Eventually, they would just draw enough lands to not care, or use an Oblivion Sower to potentially get colors of mana they would like. If they happen to get one of our basics. No, once Blood Moon's down, Oblivion Sower becomes a lot worse at doing that. But yeah, I think I like the Tron matchup. I think I like it in this deck more than the others. Of course, that's not why I play Rug Delver. I play Rug Delver because I love Rug Delver. But that's just me rambling on and on about the deck, which is probably something I do on a regular basis because I really like this deck. Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed that video, and I will see you in the next one.